What is up, everybody? Happy Monday. I'll tell you what, I hope that everybody survived Facebook and Instageddon today. Hope everybody made it through okay with no social media for most of the day. On that note, if you're not following me on Twitter, please do so because that's where I was most of the day today. Hope you guys are all doing well. Glad to see everybody here so far. And we got an awesome guest tonight, a good friend, somebody that I call my mentor. I've learned a lot from. And so I don't want to waste any more of his time because he does have a live stream tonight at 9, just in case most of you guys in here know this already, but he'll be live at 9 on his channel. So, and I'm going to have to add his camera because we had some technical stuff before. So give me 1 second, but we're going to bring him in. Dan C. Bearded, give me 1 second. What's up, Dan?
Hey, you guys. Welcome. Thanks for having me. Glad to see some familiar faces in the chat, from Mrs. Coach to Ash to John to Brian and Jesse and everybody. Casey, I know I'm missing some, but thank you guys for coming out tonight.
Yeah, no selfies today. Social media was not today.
That's true.
So no selfies for John. So thanks everybody for being here. So we're going to jump right in because we didn't talk about it really before the stream, but probably about an hour or so. Dan has to do some stuff to get ready for his show. So we won't keep him very long. What's up, Tevin? Jason, what's up, Chris? And everybody else that was here before the beginning. So thank you guys so much for being here. So Dan, I think most people here know you. I certainly know you. The questions that I have tonight, I pretty much think that I know most of the answers, but some people here may not. And I know when it comes to content creation, you are a treasure trove, if I can speak, of knowledge when it comes to content creation. So before we get to that part, though, let's go back to Dan C. Bearded before there was Dan C. Bearded. So tell us about yourself, anything you want to go back to.
Yeah. So thank you. I born and raised in Michigan. I've been all over, born in the middle of the state, grew up on the east side of the state, right on Lake Michigan, and then moved over to where I'm at now, right near Flint, Michigan. And high school was a athlete, did basketball, swimming, water polo, pretty much anything I could. Then ended up going to the University of Michigan, Ann Arbor, to play water polo, and didn't really know what I wanted to do for a living. So I started coaching in college and fell in love with coaching a sport and teaching a sport. And then figured like teaching a subject would be equally as cool. And I liked history. So I went into teaching history. And from there, I'd coach swimming and water polo all through college, all through teaching. And then I had a short beard really since high school. I had a beard growing my freshman year, and my dad told me I couldn't grow a beard because the Yankees couldn't have a beard, so neither could I. And then once I got out of high school, I think it was like my rebelling against him. So I decided to grow a beard out. And so I had a beard of short to short medium length for probably 10 years. And then I met my wife, and she first encouraged me to grow my beard longer, and then also encouraged me to start this channel. So before me, it was mainly teaching, coaching, and then meeting my beautiful wife, Sam.
Now, before you got into YouTube, though, you were doing some other forms of content, right? You got your start on other platforms because Dan C. Bearded was a name you had before YouTube, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, so my name was actually just Dan C, and I was on mainly Reddit and then commenting on YouTube for a good probably 2 years before I created a channel. And this was back when the community of the beard niche was very different. And I was giving feedback. I was even working with companies. Like, for example, one of the companies I love to work with is Fable. And I worked with them before I even had a YouTube channel for dang near a year. So yeah, I would post pictures and I would do like walkthroughs on how to trim my mustache and what products I was using and all these different things that I thought was interesting with a beard, just never in video format. It was always typing and always pictures.
Right. And that's how I found you and got into content creation, was obviously YouTube. I've told you the story before. I think a lot of people, because this is your most viewed video, was your morning routine video. So that video is how I even got to the beard side of YouTube, and then of course I started creating content from there. So I'm glad that you found your way here. It's been great getting to know you. Let's see. John says Long Island looked good on you. That looked like you guys had a great weekend.
We did. It was a 12-hour drive there, a little bit under that on the way back because of less traffic.
Right.
but it was without our children. We have 3 kids who we love, but they're also terrible. So it was really enjoyable, nice, peaceful ride, and we had a great time. The wedding was a blast. It was actually a Beard community members' wedding, so it was really, really cool. We had a great time. I'm kind of paying for it and catching up now on sleep and life, but it
Right.
was great.
And what's up, Christmas Clatter? Welcome in. Glad to see you here. Gary wants you to make IG work now.
Yeah, it should be good. Boom.
Our comments getting deleted. There's none being deleted from here. Is YouTube catching the bug now?
Yeah.
I hope not. I hope
Not
not,
us,
Ash.
Ash.
Let's see. Brian says, I remember when the channel name was Dan C. No Bearded, we
Mhm.
would hang out in Beard Brand's live stream when they gave advice. Now Dan is the
Yeah.
go-to guy for advice.
Yeah, for years, Beard Brand, I would comment on other channels, and I loved beard stuff even before I had a channel.
And we got everybody saying hello. So you talked a little bit about getting into creation, getting into YouTube. So what made you make that jump from, the Reddit side of things, the text, type platforms to actually creating content on YouTube? What made that jump for you?
It was actually super simple. I'm not a super, like, complex or deep guy. I was literally watching a video, one of the probably the biggest individual beard channel in our niche, and I was watching a video on the kitchen table, and my wife came up behind me. I'll never forget it. She's like massaging my shoulders a little bit, and she was like, and she knew that I posted on Reddit. She knew that I was working with companies, and it was a huge passion of mine. And she word for word said, "Hey, I think you should try creating a channel. I think you'd be good at it." And I was like, "Ooh, really? You think I'd be good at this?" And so, literally the next day, my intro video went up, and I used whatever we had in our house, filmed it in my kitchen, filled it in my kitchen on my kitchen table. Sounded like I was in a tin can, and the lighting was literally changing like a disco room. And that was it. It was within a day that the channel got started. There wasn't much planning. There wasn't much purpose other than what I came up with in that 24 hours.
Yeah, I've always seen you as that type of guy, and I'm kind of the same way. Once I decide to do something, I make it happen.
Yep.
And sometimes that's good. Sometimes that doesn't turn out so good. But when I decide to do something, it's going to happen. There's a lot of people. There's a handful of people that I would maybe say are willing to work as hard or harder than I am. And that's not a knock to anybody. When I put my mind to something, I do it. I'm full throttle. And there's a few people that I would put above me, and that you're definitely one of them. I've seen we've had some conversations about different things and some of your processes, and you've shared some. I'm lucky. So I get one video scheduled at a time, and my mind works that way. I know you'll jump, 5 or 6 videos scheduled at one time.
Yep.
So
Yeah,
and
if I have something like this last week, I had 6 videos scheduled because I normally do the bulk of my filming and editing on the weekend nights, and we were going to be gone, so I knew I had to work ahead of time. And yeah, and like you said, if I get my mind to something, it's going to happen. So if you hear me like briefly mention something, it's already over. It's going to happen.
and guys in the chat, if you guys have any questions, Ashley, I saw your comment about hitting the like. I don't know. They're not coming through on the Ecamm side, so I'm not sure. Hopefully it's not the Nightbot thing. I have all that turned off, so I don't know. I have to check into that. Sorry, though. And if you guys in the chat have any questions you want to ask Dan, throw them out there. I will occasionally get to those. I'll save them so that I can come back to them. I will make sure those get answered, though, for sure. So we do have Gary wants to know, what do you see as the most difficult part of content creation and the most easiest or rewarding part?
I would say the most difficult is the commitment to consistency. Not so much more difficult for me, but difficult being in a young family. I have 3 kids that are 6 and under, 6, 4, and 1. I have a wife that loves life and loves to do things and go places. So, for example, we are getting ready to book a Thanksgiving trip to Washington, D.C. And we're not going to do a meetup or anything. I know there's a lot of people in that area, but we're going to see family. And she was like, "Perfect. You have a half day on Wednesday. We'll leave right after school." And I had to say, well, I actually have my Wednesday night live stream that I've never missed. So we're going to have to leave Thursday morning. So literally working my life around the channel and staying consistent with the channel. That can be challenging with my family, but my wife is super supportive, super amazing with it, but it still is challenging. And the easiest or most rewarding part, I love helping people. You know this. A lot of other people know this. The feeling when someone says, like, "Hey, you helped my beard journey," or I mean, I've had not to get too deep. I've had people say that the channel and the community have saved their lives because of the support and the positivity. Man, that's all you need. That stuff's easy. I would say one thing that's unique for my channel and me that's easy is coming up with video ideas. I know a lot of people struggle with video topics, and I make at least 3 videos a week, and I have enough video ideas for the next probably 2 years, and that's not an exaggeration. I'm constantly my brain, I think it's because I'm a teacher and I have to turn like stories into lessons. I'm constantly bringing in information, and the only output I have is how do I turn that into a video? So for me, I would say if I was in the content world, it's coming up with ideas. It's very, very easy, and it's just natural. It's not something I like work hard at or anything. It's how my brain is wired.
It's funny. There's two things from what you just said that I learned from you early on. We schedule our vacations around live streams and content also. Um, I got that straight from you. I can't credit anybody else with that. When I first started doing this a couple of years ago, I missed one live stream. And you and I were having a conversation after that, and you were like, don't miss your live streams. If you can help it at all, you said something like, if you're breathing and can make it to your computer, do your live stream.
Yep.
So I learned that from you. And then the list of content ideas also, I keep a OneNote because I can, use OneNote, phone, computer, wherever I'm at.
Yep.
And if I have an idea, if somebody sparks an idea, I can just open it up real quick and jot it down. So those are two things I learned from you right there.
Awesome. Same. I think it's called Google Keep. It's just my Google Notes, and you can pull them up from Chrome as well.
So let's go back to the beginning of your channel. You've been doing this. If you just celebrated 3 years, right?
Yeah, July like 12th was year 3. So coming up on 3.5, I'd say.
So going back to when you first started doing this, like you said, you had your intro done and ready like day one. And then if I remember hearing you say before, you also recorded your very first video and had it done within a day or two, right?
Yep.
Or your intro was your first
review video. Yep.
Yep. So when you look back now on your earlier videos, what do you think about your earlier videos? Because, a lot of creators, they want to go back and delete their old videos, and we all kind of look at our first video, and I know me for sure, I'm like, my first video was garbage. So when you look back at your videos, what's your thoughts on those?
Yeah, so I kind of have two sides when I think about my original videos, my first 6 months of videos, my first year of videos. It's frustrating the audio and video levels because it's worse than where most people start. If you start with the phone that you have in your hand, or if I would have started with the phone I would have had much better quality, but I tried to do different things and it was just really bad. So that's very frustrating. Another frustrating thing is the skill of learning to be yourself, talking in front of a blank camera and nobody else. That is very difficult. I'm a very outgoing person. I always have been. I know a lot of people talk about being introverts and this is their outlet. That's not me. If you put a bigger crowd in front of me, I'm going to be happier. I like talking. I like meeting people. I like the spotlight. So that was unique for me to try to bring my natural energy and self to a just dead camera, not getting nods, not getting laughs, not getting any feedback at all. I just wasn't quite fully myself personality wise. So those were the two frustrations. But then on the other side of things, I'm still very, very proud of the information from those early videos. Some of my best, most helpful videos, some of my biggest videos are from those early days. And looking back 3.5 years, I would not change a single thing from the content, from the info side, just more so the delivery, which I'm still always tinkering with. I've made my biggest changes probably in the last 4 weeks on the channel as far as audio and video goes. So that would be the biggest thing is audio and video, but I'm very happy with the content.
Yeah, there's definitely been a progression. I think we can all say that in one way or another. I know for me, my first video too, I've often said, I should go back and delete it, but then I don't want to do that because I want to be able to see that progression.
Right.
So I think that's important.
I agree.
So we do have a few more questions here. So Mel wants to know, Who is your biggest inspiration and why? And then also, and I'll leave this up so you can reread it, but also, do you ever struggle with the process of creating content in any one particular area?
Hmm. My biggest inspiration, I don't, man, it probably sounds bad, but with these interviews and stuff, I know some people uh, will leave maybe not exactly liking. I don't know the best way to say it. Just essentially, I speak the truth in these things. I felt a time in my life where I got the most trouble or the worst results when I tried to say things that I thought people wanted to hear. So just as like a PSA to everybody, I'm just speaking unfiltered truth. And I know it might come off wrong sometimes, but I hope you believe in good intentions. And I just mean intentions. I mean good intentions. So my biggest inspiration, I don't really think I have one. Like a lot of people say their kids or their family. To be honest, I don't think about them when I make a video. I don't sit down and like pump myself up and say, you know what, this one's for Maddox or this one's for my dad, who, like, growing up and working hard, he was my biggest inspiration. And my mom was an inspiration to be kind and caring. But I just love this. I genuinely love it. I have enough like natural intrinsic motivation where I don't really have too much of an inspiration. I don't like super look up to channels and say I want to be them or anything like that. I just love making content. So I don't really have an inspiration. And then do you ever struggle with the process of creating content? I would say the area that I struggle the most in, and you're not supposed to do this, but would be comparing myself with other channels. And for me, it would be specifically with the tech side of things. Like I said, I've always been very comfortable with the content and then really got into being myself in the delivery. But I always felt I was just behind the eight ball on producing thumbnails, on audio, on video. And so I would look at channels and be like, man, I wish I could have that, and I would focus on things that didn't matter too much. And it's something that I always have to rein myself back in and say, hey, man, you started to build a following with like tin can sound. So that's probably my biggest struggle, is comparing myself to other channels on the audio video.
Yeah, that's really important. I talked about that in a video this morning about especially brand new creators. Now you're 3 years in, but
Yeah.
a lot of new creators, and there was a part of me that was guilty of this at first when I started, where you look at other channels and you look at the cameras they have, the microphones they have, their studio, just the way their stuff looks, and you're like, see, I don't have all this cool stuff. Um, you look at their look and what they have, and you're like, man, I can never be that. But what most people don't realize is that creators, you're a perfect example. You went 3 years before you started upgrading a lot of that stuff. They
Yeah.
work up to that. Nobody, well, we'll say 99.2% of people do not start with all this cool stuff. They start with a phone. They start with a microphone from Amazon that plugs to their phone, and pretty much as long as they have that and some good lighting, they're okay. And that good lighting can
Yeah.
be a window or a lamp in front of them, you know?
Yep.
So a lot of creators can sort of discourage themselves if they compare, especially early, and then a lot of times they'll just give up or quit. And I want to make sure that people don't do that. Work and
Yeah.
the tech will follow, and you're a perfect example of that.
Yeah, I agree thoroughly, especially when you talk about new channels. It frustrates me, and they're like, "Should I get this camera? Should I do this?" I'm like, that stuff does not matter early. Like I said, these like current iPhones are unbelievable, even for their mics. All right, that's the knock against most good cameras, is you still can't use the in camera mic. On an iPhone, you can use the mic, just be about an arm length away. You can
Yep.
use the camera, 4K camera, even the front facing camera is fantastic. So, yeah, definitely, I know a lot of people can relate to that, even if they don't know it yet. Just don't get caught in that trap. And we all do it. I'm guilty of it.
Yep. Yep. Same. All right. Let's see. We have, so Just Plain Bearded says, what's up, JPB? He says, Dan, what has been the thing you cherish most about the process of creating?
So I love the relationships I've made. I have some of my best friends in life, not just in the community, not just in the internet, in life. I just went to a wedding in Long Island, New York this weekend that I drove for, with someone that I met because he has a beard. And his wife and Sam are as close gets. I've met people that are in the chat right now, like Gary Lewis. I plan on meeting many more people that are in the chat. The relationships are fantastic. You and I, common buddy Jay Cruz, I got to spend the weekend with. So that is unbelievable. But for me, the thing I cherish the most, and I've said this many times, but it's just true, is the appreciation. I know it's a fault of mine, but it's honest. I run on appreciation. It's not by chance that I'm a teacher, that I coached for 14 years, that I have 3 children, that I make content. I love to feel appreciated. I love to work on adding value and then have it shown back. So I don't know if it's because I didn't like get proper amount of love and affection as a kid. I'm sure there's some psychologists out there that would love to dive deep into that study, but I love the appreciation of it. I read I can't even imagine how many comments I've had in the history of my channel. I read every single one. I try to respond to all of them. That part I absolutely love with a passion, is that appreciation. And I know I'm not supposed to say that, but it is true.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. Appreciating the appreciation is what I hear from that. I think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
John said he loves your answer on inspiration.
Cool. Thank you, John.
And Gary's got a point. You had the first official mullet cam in the game.
I did. So it's actually right here. So this is probably a year and a half ago, and this was through StreamYard. I brought in another camera, which can be a headache because you have to like mute all the mics and do all these different things. And believe it or not, it was this. Let me see if I can show you. It was this little teeny tiny camera right here, and it's a spy camera. Someone sent it to me, and I've never really used it. And I hooked it up one day and it worked. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. And so then I had my normal webcam that was here. And then the side spy camera was right over here. And this was when I was growing a mullet. Yeah, if you don't know me, I grew a mullet. It was nice. It was the first mullet in the community. I can put that out there with full confidence. It's now a huge thing. But I grew out the mullet and I threw it over here, and it was to show off the mullet, but it was also to be able to show off like the side beard, because everyone sees my beard from the front. They don't get to see like how much depth there is to it. So yeah, I had that mullet cam probably a year and a half ago.
So on that note, any chance of the mullet coming back?
No, I love the way it looks. It's not about the looks. It's just a pain in the butt. It gets hot. It's harder to take care of. It just doesn't feel right. So no, I'm not bringing the mullet back. It was fun while it lasted, but I do enough maintenance on my beard. I don't like to take care of my head hair and have to do that. So no mullet cam for me anymore. No mullets.
Gotcha. And I'm far from a mullet. Nature took care of that for me. So, yeah, and Tevin's right. The cool thing about Dan and Ken, thanks, Tevin, is that they always responded to any question I've ever asked. I think it's important for creators to respond to their audience. Sometimes I feel like some do not.
Yeah, and so I said I respond to most comments, which I do. Now it's just getting really, really hard with life and comments. I probably get, I think on average, about 300 comments a day, which is a lot. And if it's a big video, more than that on average. But I've responded to every Instagram, Facebook message, every email in the history of my channel. I've never ignored a single message on those platforms. So, and for that, people go out of their way to go find me and then message me. I don't care what the situation is. I will respond, and it's always in a timely manner. I don't know if I've ever gone even 24 hours without responding to somebody. So yeah, I respond to every single question.
Gary says, "Oh, did y'all just hear Dan say I'm his best friend?" Hey, what's up, Kombucha? Good to see you. Let's see. Another question we have from John. As a new content creator, do you see people overthinking content than just doing?
Oh my gosh. The number one thing that drives me crazy when I watch other content creators is how much they overthink, how much they worry, how much they overanalyze. The term that I first heard on the Joe Rogan podcast, and many people talk in the community, is imposter syndrome, where they question themselves. Why should I be giving advice? I was born wired different, just straight up. Those thoughts never come near me. It's such a foreign concept to question yourself and doubt yourself. I just don't have that. So when I see people overanalyze, I just want to shake them. And I love your slogan, just hit record, just make content. God, my goodness, you guys, stop worrying about this and worrying about this. And it wasn't perfect. Like, do your best, give effort, plan it out, be efficient, but don't don't be the person that holds you back. If something's going to stop me, it's not going to be myself. It's going to be something else that I can't control. So yes, to 1,000 degrees, so many people overthink their content. And especially the more and more I get involved, the content creator community overthinks it, because I think they think it has to be perfect to put it out there. And the margin of what I like to look at with effort, right? If you're going to make a video and it takes 2 hours, and then someone's like, oh, I need it perfect, and they end up spending 5, how much different is the output with that additional 3 hours? Are you getting substantial amount more views? Are you getting substantial amount more of value added? If the answer is no, don't overthink it. Don't try to be perfect. Do your best, give your lesson, help people, and just put it out there.
Yeah, I think the point that some people miss when they start, you can overplan, right? We talked about overthink, but you can also overplan to the point that you never actually just hit that record button. And even though your early videos may not be the best, obviously over time you want to progress, but in order to progress, you have to sit in front of that camera and actually film something. And
Yeah.
the time that sometimes, and I'm guilty of this myself too in the beginning, the time that we can spend planning and thinking and worrying and not making content, if you talk about, let's say you go a month or 2 months or 6 months, that's 6 months of experience sitting in front of a camera, getting used to talking to nobody in the room, getting used to how to look at the camera and talk to the camera, and all those little things that you can't do unless you're filming. So those are all important too.
Absolutely.
John says, it's so hard for me to feel imposter syndrome. I understand it, but not an easy concept for me.
Yeah. Yep, I agree.
So Dan and Ken, what is your favorite NF song? Disney Beersman. I think you're going to an NF concert, right? I think it was you that said that. Yep.
Yeah,
actually,
he is.
in the comment.
He is in there. Yep.
See, if I just read the rest of the comment.
Yeah, so I'm a huge NF fan, but I can't even name one right off the top of my head that would be a favorite. I love so many of them, from his old CDs to his current, so I couldn't even name one that's a favorite.
Off the top of my head, I'll say Options, because that seems to be the one that I go back to, that I listen to more than any.
Yeah, that resonates heavy.
Yes. All right, so let's see. We got a couple.
And yeah, Mel
more.
does have a great question if you want to highlight that one there.
Yep. So basically, what would you see as your biggest flaw? Because a lot of times people look at your channel, they look at you, and your content, your delivery, everything comes across as flawless, which we're all creators. We know we can edit some of that out. I edit out plenty of flaws. But what would you say is your biggest flaw?
So I have tons of flaws. I have things that absolutely drive me crazy. But I think one of the reasons that some would say it's flawless is because I never talk about them, or I never focus on them. A lot of people, they drive themselves crazy and then they speak about it. They talk about it. They get other people to start looking at it. So my answer would be, I have a lot, but those are for me, not for everybody else. Because if I bring it up, then everybody else starts to notice. If I don't bring it up, guess what? You don't know what it is. So I don't talk about my flaws. I try, like as a coach, I try to maximize our strengths and hide our flaws. I try to do the same with my channel.
Right. JPB wants to know, when will we get the Danny pack?
Soon. I wore a fanny pack to school for like Wacky Tourist Tuesday, and dudes and dudettes, game changer. You can put your phone in there. You can put your keys in there. You can put your granola bar in there. It was amazing. I want to make a Danny pack happen, because I think if we could make that acceptable, make that cool, it's going to help out a lot of people.
I think if you do that, though, you need to sell it with some New Balance. It's kind of a dad Danny pack combo, right?
Okay. Yeah. I can do that. I can do that little dad pack.
Right. All right. And then Andy, this is something that we know. How do you handle the social media haters? It's funny. We were kind of talking about this a few minutes ago before we went live.
Yeah, I had some dude go on a barrage of, I think, like 36 like hateful comments, like I get some it's the internet, right? So I get some unbelievable comments. I had a video where it was about like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. You know exactly what Leatherface, and their comment was, "I hope Leatherface visits and ends you to make the world a better place." I was like, "Oh." So I just responded back and said, "Man, that is a hateful comment." I said, "I hope you're doing okay." And I truly, and I know you've seen this and other people that follow me have seen this, I try to reply back in a twofold attack. One is with empathy and kindness. I truly try to be empathetic and kind to them, but I also try to put in a little bit of wittiness. I'm never sarcastic. I'm never putting them down, but I try to have something that's a little bit of a zinger, right? If I told you it's just complete caring and complete compassion, it's not true, because I do want to get a little bit of a oh snap in there as well, but I do it very professionally, very classy, and I don't know. I've learned to enjoy them. They don't bother me. They're entertaining for me. I always tell people, like I was talking to my students about content creation and haters, and because you have kids, right, that it ruins their year. They think about people talking about them online. I'm like, you guys, right? I have people that come to my videos and call me feminine. For one, growing a beard, isn't that like the actual opposite of being feminine? Like, isn't that about as a masculine trait as it can possibly get? And it said, and for two, they found me. What are you doing watching beard videos if you're coming here to bring hate to me? So I've learned to enjoy them. I think it's a fun game to come up with my caring but witty comebacks to them. So I have fun with them.
So let's just clear this up real quick, because I know, well, there's a lot, but I know specifically one of the comments you're talking about. So let's just clear the air. Let's get it out in the open now, Dan. Can you change a tire?
Yes, I have changed a tire before. I have. I do
And I
not
figured.
change the oil or the brakes on my vehicles because I lease, so I don't have to. It's usually included. But yes, I can change a tire. I've changed my golf cart tires twice now.
Yeah, and I kind of knew the answer. Not that, I mean, to think that having a beard would mean you couldn't change a tire. I'll never understand that comment, but you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And yeah, kombucha. Yeah, I've
Oh
seen some
yeah.
other comments too. People have made. They're crazy.
Oh man, Kim, I've had some great ones. I have a beautiful daughter, and we brought this up on a live stream recently, who's 18 months old, and I was at a concert and I didn't have a mask on at the concert, and somebody commented, "I hope your daughter gets pneumonia and dies from you giving her COVID." It's like, whoa, like there is some really, really hurting people out there to go online and have like the mental ability to type that and send that. Gosh, man, that is a sad, sad life. So I just try to think about that perspective from the other side. They don't get to me. I laugh at them. I know them. I remember them, but it's nothing that's like, shoot, I shouldn't put out a video because someone's going to say something mean to me. I just chalk it up and move it on.
Yeah, one thing that I've learned: once you find any little bit of something that other people view as success, they start coming for you. So it's coming.
For sure.
It's coming. Oh, Vato. He's got a question for you, Dan. Can you watch a whole Star Wars season in 3 days?
I didn't even know they had seasons. So that's news to me.
For those of you that may not know, so I'm part of Dan's Facebook group also, one of the best groups on Facebook to be a part of. I've told people that there's only really two reasons I'm on Facebook, and that's family and Command's Corner.
That's awesome.
Otherwise, I can't stand Facebook. Too many political conversations and stuff like that.
Yep.
But one of Dan's rules in his Facebook group, and I'll let you tell the story. I think it's more of a joke, but one of the rules in the Facebook group is that there's no I think it's Star Wars and politics. Is that what it is?
So it's no religion, no politics, no Star Wars. Yep, and the main reason behind that is we really do have no religion, no politics discussion whatsoever, because I've never seen a good conversation about politics or religion online. In person, it's possible. It's not likely. I've never heard anybody be like, you know what? I'm going to change my vote because of that Facebook comment. You know what? I'm switching religions tomorrow. Let's end this violence. It just never goes anywhere. And so we want our Facebook group to kind of be an oasis from that, a break from that. And so then to kind of like cut the tension of talking about something very serious like religion and politics, I threw in Star Wars. One, because I never got the hype. I don't enjoy watching Star Wars. I don't hate it. It's not like it's torture for me, but it's one of those things where I watch and I'm like, okay, yeah, that's cool, but never became a super fan of it. And it also can be pretty like debating, right? When people talk about Star Wars and this line and that line, some people get heated over it. So it was just kind of in a funny way to break the tension of religion and politics.
Yeah, sometimes if you get the right people together, you talk about Star Trek or Star Wars, that can be almost like Michigan-Ohio State talk. you know?
For sure, for sure. Go blue.
So, hey, what's up, James Anthony? How are you? All right, so you talked a little bit about your family. One thing that you've done really well is include your family as part of your channel. I know one thing for sure, your wife is very supportive, and I know what that's like because my wife, she's in here, here, Mel very well,
Yep.
very supportive also. So first of all, that's just amazing to have that support. But how did you come up with the idea? What made you want to involve your family in your channel?
So when I decided to make that channel, right? I said my wife on an afternoon one day said, I think you should make a channel. You'd be good at it. By the next afternoon, I had my intro video. Within that 24 hours, I came up with my plan and my strategy. And at that point, I had already been coaching, teaching for years and years and years. So coming up with a plan was not new to me. And so I kind of surveyed the game, surveyed the scene, and I had a two-prong attack. One, how do I highlight myself in the best way possible? And two, how do I bring a unique angle while doing that? I wanted to be true to myself. I wanted to also be something where people, why would they watch me over these already established channels? Not that they had to pick one, but if they have a channel that they love that covers it all, I needed to bring something new. So what I saw in the game where there were a couple of holes that didn't exist, number one was a truly family-friendly channel. No swearing, no talking about chicks, no burping, none of that stuff. It didn't really exist at that time. Some of the bigger channels would just let it all loose, and I would never watch in front of my wife or my kids. Number two, I didn't see anybody that approached it in an educational way. I saw people that made videos on what they did to style their beard and review products. That was about it. But I didn't see anybody breaking it down saying, hey, here's a lesson. This is what you can get out of it. And here's the research and some citations to back it up. And then number three, the most important was I did want to bring in my wife because a lot of the reviews are talking about how good this smells or how good that smells. Well, for me, I didn't care how I smelled. I cared how I smelled to the females I was trying to attract. Whether I was in high school, whether I was in college, I was never like, oh man, I smell so good. I love the way I smell right now. It was like, hey, how do you think I smell? And I'm married. At this point, I was married as well for several years. We had a kid together at that point, now three. And so when I wore beard products, the only smell that really mattered was if I could tolerate it and then if Sam liked it. So nobody in the history of the beard niche had brought in their wife or their significant other to give the female perspective on that scent profile. So from the very beginning, I said, I'm going to bring in Sam and she's going to let the guys know how females feel, not all, but she can cover a pretty good range. And then also, if there's any prospective females out there shopping for their man, they can get a female perspective. And so for me, that was super important. And then I worked my kids in. And if you follow my other social media outlets, I include my kids a lot more there because it's who I am, right? The reason why I include them on my channel is because that's the biggest part of my life imaginable.
Yeah, you do it well too, and I always like watching Sam's reactions, and especially here lately, it seems you guys have gotten real comical with some of the little one-liners and like the intro of the video and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's been fun to watch.
Cool. Thank you.
So, so Holly, this is Holly from Whiskey and Hardtack. For those of you in the chat, most of you know Holly. This is Dan. You may or may not have seen. He's got a couple of videos on YouTube, and some Whiskey and Hardtack products.
Mm-hmm.
What's up, Holly? I'm assuming Holly. If it's Dawn, I'm sorry. I always assume Holly. I don't know why.
It's Holly.
Okay. So, what have been some of your biggest changes? And we probably talked a little bit about this, but from then until now, we talked about the tech and stuff like that, but is there anything else that you would say has been some of your biggest changes since you started as a brand new creator to where you are now?
Oh man. Not really as a creator. I would say some of my early video ideas are extremely similar to my ones now. The information, the approach is very similar. I do hear a lot of people, especially in like the content creator community, the coach community, that talks about you have to evolve, you have to change. And I've changed in a lot of ways, but not so much my approach to videos. I've always done one review a week and then two educational videos or experiential styling type videos. And that hasn't really changed for me. I would say maybe the only thing that's changed, and I know you've worked on this as well, is I've had a new focus to try and incorporate shorter videos, which does not fit my personality. I'm a teacher that teaches 57 minutes. We have classes, 57 minutes. I teach 6 of them a day every day. So I'm used to that long format and breaking it down and filling time. So for me to condense something down to under 4 minutes or under 5 minutes is very, very difficult. So I guess that would be probably the biggest change, is finding some topics that fit as a quick hitter, because some topics I would never do them justice if it was a 4-minute video. But there are others where I can say, all right, let me cut all of the fluff, get right down to it. And I think I've done a pretty good job of that over the last probably 2 months.
Yeah, that's something for those of you that may not know. Some of you in the chat have maybe not seen my first YouTube channel. A lot of my videos were, 25, 30 minutes long, and that's like average. And me and Dan and a couple other guys have had conversations many times about, I need to shorten my videos. I need to figure that out. And that's something I've worked really hard on. So that's what Dan's kind of referencing there.
Yeah.
If you go back and look at some of the videos on my beard channel, there are, like Gary has to watch them in chunks. He can't concentrate for a half an hour. So, and he's told me that that's him. And I think 50 minutes, I think you're talking about your vlog. That was a long video.
Yeah, that's a lot of editing.
Andy says, Dan is the reason I got into beard content and inspired him to become a creator as well. That's awesome.
Very cool.
So, talking about beards, I would call, and we kind of talked about this before, I would kind of call the beard part of YouTube, I would call that a micro niche, probably a micro niche of men's grooming. So what would you say are the challenges? Because there's plenty of micro niches, and there's so many different audiences. I mean, there's a place for everything on YouTube. So what would you say is some of the biggest challenges with content in a micro niche?
That you have a very limited market, right? The numbers may not look extremely large. I'm dealing with predominantly males. Cut that even smaller, males with facial hair. Cut that even smaller, males with facial hair that care about the grooming and care of their facial hair. And cut that even smaller, men with facial hair that care about the grooming, that have a little substance to their beard. I don't have a ton of guys with short stubble beards that follow the channel. It's more so guys with business, medium to long beards. So the challenge is that the market is very, very small, and you want to maximize that, right? Something like content or technology, that's everybody. Like my 12-year-old students know about different mics. My sisters who are in their 30s know about mics. My dad knows about different mics and cameras. He just bought a really nice Sony A7, I think some crazy camera. It was $3,500. That is everywhere. My market keeps getting more and more and more niche, which is a challenge, but it's one that I'm up for. I think it's big enough.
Yeah, for sure. You've probably had, I know, a matter of fact, I know you have, I don't even have to say probably, conversations with owners, because a lot of beard owners, they do, craft shows and things in their local areas. And I would say, I don't know the statistic to be truly the case, but I would guess 90% of the people that they see, maybe more, have no idea that this world exists out here.
Yeah, definitely. And if
there's beard products being talked about on YouTube.
Yeah. And if they do, it's usually they've watched 1 or 2 videos. I've had people that'll be like, I've seen you before. And it's because they search for one specific, it's like me, right? I don't do a ton with tools, but if I need to find something, I can find it real quick. Example, I could not get the top off of a liquid rubber, like the glue stuff the other day for plumbing, could not get it off for anything. And I'm not a weak dude. So I looked it up on YouTube, and some dude with his phone had like 500,000 views for take your wrench, turn it upside down, and use the grippy part of the handle to turn it, and it popped open right away. Now, I don't subscribe to his channel. I don't look at any other tool videos, but I found something helpful. There's a big portion that have only watched my morning routine video. And so they just come in and pop. So yeah, there's so many guys out there with beards. That part of the challenge is, how do we get to them? How do we reach them? How do we bring them in? So yeah, that is a challenge. Yep.
I got to do this real quick. Vato says, Dan is the reason why I got on IG. Vato, where is your IG, sir? And I know why you don't have one. We've talked about it, man. It's a good reason. Let's see. Mel says, if you were not in the men's grooming niche, would you pursue another niche? And do you have another area of content you're just as passionate about?
For sure. Yeah, I've got some big plans for other channels as well. I'm literally going to do a beef jerky review channel at some point in the future. Sam and I both want to do a camping travel channel in the future. And of course, I think it would be really fun to do a history channel. But the problem with history channel is everybody's an internet expert. The one thing that I like about beards is most guys come in not knowing anything and they're not afraid to admit that, right? They don't have a lot of experience. So the channel is very helpful. When you make a history video, the people that are watching are history buffs, and so they watch with the purpose of picking it apart. So I would have to find a way that works for me mentally to make that history video and make that history channel, because I love telling stories. I probably love telling stories more than I do making educational videos. I believe that I'm a storyteller. So I would have to find an angle. Maybe it's just straight up turning off comments on YouTube, but that is a big challenge of that history market. But I would say the next one's probably going to be a beef jerky review channel, because I don't know if there's anybody in the world that's tried as many beef jerky brands that as I have, and I think that would be a lot of fun.
Let's see. Aaron Rodgers said he had. Okay, let's see what the question is.
Okay.
Start, bench, cut. Okay, I see what he's saying.
Yeah. So
B-dubs,
I
Mountain
would
Dew,
go
beef
with
jerky.
yeah, I would start beef jerky. I would bench Mountain Dew. And here's the reason why. There is no alternative to beef jerky. It's beef jerky. You can't find anything else. I would bench Mountain Dew because it's the best pop out there. And yes, it is called pop for everybody. It's the best pop out there. But I can have an alternative. There's other options for that. And B-dubs, it's great, but my goodness, there's so many better play. I love B-dubs, but there's better options out there. So that would be the reason why you can't replace beef jerky.
Yeah, I think B-dubs is more of a fun hangout. Their food's good, but there's definitely better wings. It's a fun place to hang out, though.
Yep.
Holly said she would watch the heck out of a Dan History channel.
One day it's going to happen.
And Consistent Ash says, I love Dan's channel because of how he is with people. I love how he treats people and how energetic he is. Goes miles with me.
Thank you, Ash. Right back at you.
And same for Ash's channel. If you guys haven't seen Ash, her videos are outstanding. She does a lot of tutorial type videos. A lot of stuff I picked up from watching her videos. I actually switched from I've started using Canva now for graphics because of her videos.
And she's the M50 user.
She is. All right, so talking about the micro niche, and you and I have had conversations about this, so obviously here, whatever you're comfortable talking about, do you think it's possible to become full-time? A lot of people have a dream of becoming a full-time creator. Most don't, but some do. I think I know where you stand on that, but do you think it's possible to become a full-time creator, able to support your family financially, everything in a micro niche?
Yes, strong yes. As long as you know what you're doing, as long as you are pursuing honest multiple streams of revenue, just about providing for my family with income, I could go full time today if I wanted to. Now, that's not because of affiliates. That's not because of ad revenue. There's many branches of my streams of income that people don't see. I don't talk about much, but I've earned, and I work very hard at them behind the scenes. So yes, I make much more from beard related world stuff as compared to teaching, but I have a unique situation where I have over $100,000 in student debt. I have a bachelor's, 2 different master degrees, both on there from the University of Michigan. And there's a program called the public loan forgiveness, where if you make your minimum payments for 10 years, those loans go away. I'm about 5 years into making my payments right now. So, and I don't even meet my interest. My loans go up every year, is how ridiculous those those fees are. And so I'm about 5 years away from starting to make really big decisions. Now, of course, you got to factor in insurance and retirement and all that stuff. But right now, I don't have a choice unless some company wants to come out and pay my 100,000 student loans. Then, hey, it's probably a wrap at that point. But yes, if I did not have those behind me, if I just started as a content creator, I could absolutely fulfill the needs of my family with this very small micro niche.
I think you could too. There's a reason why I titled this live stream the way that I did. I mean, you set the standard, and Casey today said you could write a book. So now you have to write a book now, as if you have time.
Right.
Let's see. JPB says, what is one person from history you wish you could meet and hang out with? They don't have to be bearded.
George Washington, easily. I try to live my life as a leader, whether it's the leader in the classroom, the leader in my family, the leader in a community. And I do believe George Washington is the greatest leader of all time. Is he a perfect person? No, none of us are. But he is an absolutely amazing leader, a ferocious competitor, a creative outside the box thinker. I would just absorb a conversation from him like a sponge. So hands down, easy answer, George Washington.
Yeah, we could, and I knew that was going to be your answer. I've heard you say that before. We can make this a long conversation, which we won't because we're limited on time. But could you imagine becoming a president with no precedents before that?
Right.
With no, I mean, you got the Constitution as a model, but you don't have anybody before you that did it, so you can take their lesson. All that good stuff.
Oh, yeah, every day you had to decide, do I shake someone's hand? Do I go to a funeral when invited? What do you call me? His Excellency? Your Majesty? So, yeah, there's so many things. I love that stuff.
And then one last question that I have here from Donald. So we sort of touched on this a little bit, but do you think new content creators get caught up in all the new technology and content creation options versus content itself?
Almost every single one. It's just natural. There must be something biological why we're wired that way to compare ourselves to others. It's not just new, it's experienced ones too. I see too many channels focusing on the tech when the tech doesn't help anybody. It makes it nicer to listen to. It makes it great to look at. It makes it fun. But I've never seen a crispy video being like, you know what? That helped my beard. Golly gee. It's the content, it's the information that actually helps people. And people lose sight of that, myself included and many others.
Yep, for sure. All right, we're coming down to the end here. So the last question that I got, what are the future plans for Dan C. Bearded? Anything that you can or want to talk about?
Yeah, for sure. So I want to continue doing what I'm doing right now, just bigger, better, more branches stretching out farther and farther. This is the base. I don't have any plans to get away from this, but I do have a 5-10 year goal to be able to create my own daily show that would be in the realm of support, community, hanging out. It still is going to be like a heavy base in men's grooming and men's lifestyle. But then we're going to bring in like current events and we're going to bring in sports and we're going to have different segments. And it's just going to be a place that people can kind of count on a daily basis. I want to bring in guests on it. So, and I do have some inspirations behind that. I'm a major fan of the Pat McAfee show. I'm a major fan of Sean Evans from First We Feast or the Hot One show and a couple of other areas where I think we could branch out. But I believe that is going to be the big one where myself and some of my best friends are going to retire from our careers and we will have a full-fledged studio with a producer, with a writer, with an HR person, with a co-host. And that's going to be something that is based literally in what we do of positivity and supporting each other and just somewhere where you can come and everybody knows your name. You can feel like you are supported. You can talk about the highs of your life, the lows of your life, and just a safe spot to come hang out. And if you're not able to make it live, it'll stay up and you can go watch it kind of podcast style afterwards.
I was going to send you a video clip the other day, and I forgot to do it, but I'm guessing you saw this anyway. Pat McAfee had a hilarious little short. It wasn't a short. He took a clip of his live stream where he was yelling because I forget the guy's name, but somebody made his face real red when they edited it.
Ariel Helwani.
Yeah. So question on that note now, have you heard back from Joe Rogan yet?
Nothing, not a word, not a peep. I'm not somebody to like super bug them, but I thought maybe I had an angle and a chance there. I still have hope. My pitch was to go out there in November, so I still have a little bit of time. If he tells me, "Hey, get out here Thursday," I'm buying a plane ticket. I'm going to be sick that day, and I will be out there Thursday. So that is for sure going to happen if he calls, but not even a peep of a response.
So listen, Joe Rogan, because I know you watch my brand new tiny little channel. Get in touch with this guy. Just kidding. That'd be cool if that happens. I hope that happens.
Yeah, thank you.
So one more question here. Mel wants to know,
Yeah.
what is your secret? Kind of a big comment. What is your secret to reading through hundreds of comments a night with speed? And she's talking about your live streams here. Um, is it is the art of speaking about one thing and reading another at the same time?
I have absolutely no idea. I'm not even a good reader. Like if you gave me like a reading level test, it's probably really low. I've always been an audio person because as a kid I didn't like reading. I used Matilda as my book report from like 2nd to like 8th grade. They're like, Dan, this is like a 3rd grade reading level. You can't do this for your 8th grade report." And I I still did it anyway. So I never really loved reading. So I don't know. It's not anything that I strategize about. The only thing I would say is, and I've told even people in this chat and content creators, and I talk about it with Ken all the time, is I prioritize the moment. I prioritize the energy. I prioritize the feel. There's comments that I miss. There's comments that I have to skip and go over because I like the vibes. I like the hangout. I don't like when, for me personally, when I go in a stream and I ask a question and then it gets answered 35 minutes later, I don't feel present. I don't feel a part of it. I don't feel active. And for me, because I know what that feels like, I really try to make everybody feel a part of the show. I try to keep up and keep it in present time. And part of that is going through stuff really quickly. Part of that is reading things while I'm talking at the same time. I don't know if there's something in teaching that brought me to that. I'm not quite sure, but I don't know. I have a ferocious motor inside of me, and that I'm sure helps that it never turns off and never slows down. So yeah, that's a great question. I'm gonna have to start thinking about it. And uh, I don't know the answer, but I love that question, Mel. And thank you for the kind words.
And Vado said those are his comments that get skipped. Just so we're
Yeah, those ones are on purpose. That's for sure. Some I miss and I don't see, but those ones just next.
so I said that was my last question, but I do have one final question
Oh yeah,
because
hit
I
me.
think this one's important. I think this one's important for a brand new content creator. And there's been a lot of little nuggets in here that hopefully people can take and use some good information here. But what would be the very first or the most important piece of advice that you would give to a brand new content creator, whether or not they're in the micro niche or in a bigger niche or whatever, just creating content? What's your first piece of advice you'd give them?
Yeah, and I didn't come up with this phrase, but it's one I use all the time because it's just true. Whether you're talking about cameras, whether you're talking about history, whether you're talking about beards, whether you're talking about content creation, content is king. That's what matters. Content is king. If you add value to people's lives, they will watch. Now, that value can be your content can be entertainment. There's the biggest channels in the world are just purely entertainment. They don't teach anything. They don't add any value other than making somebody laugh, making somebody's day. Your your content can be strictly educational. There's people who are very monotone, are not exciting or interesting whatsoever, but they add a lot of value with the information. Find out what your content is and dive into that. Add value to people's lives, and content is king.
Absolutely. What's up, Rob?
So, Rob,
Yeah, great advice for sure. So we're at 8 o'clock. Dan's got a show in about an hour. So before we get out of here, Dan, let people know where they can find you. I've got some stuff here that I know for sure, but I didn't include your Facebook group here. So anywhere that people can reach you, let them know.
yeah, Dancy Bearded across the board on TikTok. I do have a TikTok now as well. I've brought in my one of my best friends and moderators, Doug Sloan, and he edits existing YouTube videos, so it's nothing new there. But just kind of putting out some search engine optimization, try to see if there's some new people out there. But YouTube's my main platform. If you guys want to check that one out, I truly believe even if you don't have a beard, you would love at least the live streams. Tonight I'll be live at 9 p.m., which is 1 hour from now Eastern. And I probably have 30 to 40 women in there every single Monday night. We ask questions, we do giveaways. Just recently, we did a $100 Dixon gift card giveaway, and a girl, Amanda, won it. So even if you're out there and you're like, I don't have a beard, I don't have anybody in my life with a beard, come for the vibes, stay for the people in the entertainment. We talk about poop on Mondays. That's a true story. We'll be talking about poop tonight. We have some great giveaways. I'm live every Monday, every Wednesday, 9 p.m. And then I do videos Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. and I try to support as many people as I can. So keep an eye out for me in the content creator community. I join many live streams, oftentimes when I'm editing and working on stuff or trying to sleep and take my mind off of things. So you can find me in a lot of places. And if you ever want to reach out to me, message me on Instagram when it's up. I am always available. I will always respond, even if it's just to say hello. But I love questions. I'm a teacher. If you ask questions, I'm going to take that very seriously, and it's an honor to be able to answer them.
And I can vouch for that, for sure. Mark, so far I've not seen him dance on TikTok, but who knows?
No, I have not. Sam is encouraging me. Believe it or not, I'm actually pretty funny and witty. Like when we were driving to New York, I had a bunch of jokes. We were crying at different points because we were laughing so hard. And a lot of it is like, I could do this on TikTok. And she was cracking up. I would have to stretch outside of my comfort zone. And I have the added layer of difficulty that I am a middle school teacher. So anything I do on TikTok, I can almost 100% count on my students passing it around. So I got to be very careful with that approach. So no plans to dance or do anything silly right now, but Sam is really encouraging me.
And I have to put this, okay, I wasn't going to do this, but I have to now. Who's the one person in the world that has a Dan C signed poop knife?
That is true. That is true. And I did bring up the poop. So that's a safe segue there.
It's on the wall over here in my studio. That was a birthday gift that it's so awesome. It's just unique, and it's because that's always been a part of your channel. I thought that was a unique and awesome gift. So thanks again for that.
If you want to learn about poop knives, I'll show one off tonight at 9 p.m. on the show.
All right. Well, I appreciate everybody for being here. Dan, thanks for taking some time out, especially on a Monday when you're getting ready for your stream.
Oh, no problem. No problem. We made it work. I love Ken's channel. I put my kids to bed usually at about this time, but I was like, nope, I'm not missing this. I'm rearranging. So many amazing faces in here. Like truly, like Brian, I've known for years. John, I talk to about content stuff on a daily basis, and people that support the channel like Vado and just everybody in here, Dave and Diane, Rob, JPB, Mark, everybody, Ray. I just appreciate you guys, all of you.
And same here. Appreciate the support also. So have a great week, everybody. Monday's my favorite night of the week, gets the week started. So have a great rest of your week. Thanks for being here, hanging out with us. And we will see you next Monday here. Make sure you check out Dan at 9 over at Command's Corner. Whiskey and Hardtack tonight.
It is, yes.
All right, so we'll see you there, Dan. Thanks again.
All right, thank you guys.
Later, everybody.